Hi, y'all. This is Kristen Chenoweth.
Hi, I'm Gloria Stefan.
This is Sarah Bareilles.
Hi, I'm Patti Lapone.
This is Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of the Theater Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Seals.
And I'm your producer, Jillian Hockman.
How you doing?
I'm so great. How are you?
Oh, I'm very happy, very elated. I just got out of the interview with Patti Murin.
Love her so much.
And gosh, we got on some really weird topics like uploading your consciousness to artificial intelligence and becoming,
that sounds like something you would talk about. Yep.
Becoming an eternal being in the cloud. Huh. And it was funny because we were talking about that kind of in relation to mental health, which she's very known for, because it was kind of fun for me to say, like, would you patch yourself? Would you fix vulnerabilities? Would you take away some of these things that make you kind of, more human? And she's like, absolutely not. I would not. She wants to still be a computer that deals with anxiety and deals with depression, but also is peppy and upbeat and happy and fun. But my gosh, it was an incredible conversation, and it actually got me, for the first time, you'll hear about in talking about my own mental health diagnosis, which I've never talked about before.
First time for everything
on this podcast, yeah. And it's like a weight, like a secret I've had is out in the open. A weight's been lifted off of me, and it's not even a big deal.
Well, that's the whole point. That's the point that Patti's making, that you can be you and you can be open, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that is okay, and it's something that you can talk about. And it's 2019, damn it. You do you.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this with others on the podcast that in this country specifically, there's a lot of stigma around mental health, whereas in other countries, it's just kind of not there. But, from what Patti's doing, and then, you've got Kristen Bell and Mark Ruffalo and so many other big celebrities who are opening up about their own struggles with mental health. And I think it's important to talk about. But, Frozen. So Frozen on Broadway just celebrated their year.
Congratulations, Frozen.
Congratulations, Frozen. You are now officially a year old on Broadway. And unfortunately, sad face, this is the last episode we will release as part of the Frozen takeover. But if you want to go back and get more episodes with Frozen cast members, of course, we did Joe Carroll and then Ryan Redmond and Noah J. Ricketts. And so now, please enjoy this episode with Patti Murin. She made her Broadway debut in 2007 in Xanadu and then originated the title character of Lysistrata Jones in 2011. She's been Glinda in the first national tour of Wicked in 2012 and is pathologist Nina Shore on the NBC medical drama television series Chicago Med. Now playing Anna in Frozen the Musical on Broadway, Patti Murin. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. You're very chipper.
I am. That's just a general Pattiness.
Public Patti?
Yeah. No, yeah. All the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, I want to get back into the very beginnings of kind of where it all started. Where did you grow up?
I grew up just north of New York City in a small town called Hopewell Junction, just south of Poughkeepsie. Mm-hmm. I know, Hopewell Junction.
I'm trying to place it. I'm just like, silence is me going through my bad geography of this area.
It's just like directly up the Hudson, basically.
Okay.
It's like an hour and 15 minutes.
So then where did you come into the city a lot? How did you get into musical theater?
Yes. My parents are massive musical theater fans, massive Broadway fans. They don't perform at all. They're just pure fans. And so we grew up with them taking me and my three siblings all the time. My grandma would take us to shows. My first show was Cats when I was 6. Yeah, I'm a cliche, I know. And
mine was Phantom. So
see,
yes,
there you
yes.
go. It's kind of nice. You're like, yeah, it was like something kind of iconic as opposed to like, I went to see this thing that like closed in 5 minutes later that no one's ever heard of.
Right.
So that was Cats, Starlit Express. I saw that. I grew up loving theater, and my dad had, all the cast recordings and stuff. And so we would listen to them and listen to the cassette tapes in the car and
Cassette tapes, yeah.
cassette tapes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I think you are 3 weeks older than me. I did read that, yeah.
Really?
So, yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so cassette tapes, indeed.
Yes.
I listened to my parents' cassette tapes in the same way. And I believe, my mother was really into cats, too.
Yeah.
Because she was a dance major.
Oh.
So she did the whole dancing and musical theater thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a dancing, there's dancing cats in that one.
Yes.
Those cats do dance.
And she likes cats. So it was kind of the perfect
literally
musical.
Perfect, yes.
It is perfect.
Oh my God.
See what you
You
did
could
there?
go for days.
So what do your parents actually do, though, besides from being fans of theater?
My dad was an 8th grade biology teacher for 35 years. He retired as soon as he could. He was like, done, that's it. My mom, she was a stay-at-home mom, and she stayed home and raised us and, fed us and clothed us and drove us around and basically made us the adults that we are today.
How many of us are there?
There's 4 of us. So my sister is 3 years older than me. My brother is a year older than me. Then there's me. And then 10 years later, there's my little brother.
10 years later?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess I've got 2 little ones, and I'm like, I need to get the diapers out of the house, and I don't think I want them again.
My mom just has always loved babies. It's what also makes her a really good grandma as well, because she loves her grandkids so much, but then she can give them back now.
That's always a nice thing is like, I like giving my kids away.
Yeah.
But being a parent now, I like to get them back.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice to hear.
But man, I love to give them away.
Yeah. Yeah. The giving away makes it what's great to get them back.
Yeah.
I would assume.
I guess, the grass is always greener, right?
Yeah.
So, you give away the kids. My 2.5-year-old is such a little jerk right now.
Yeah. Oh.
He's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love him. And he looks at you and he's like, how can I just, I'm scheming, I'm breaking.
It's like they're figuring out where their lines are, like what lines they can cross and how to like manipulate.
Oh, the boundaries.
So weird.
But I'm trying to be an intentional parent.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I want to, like, right now, they're one day they're going to grow up and they'll be like, oh, daddy interviews Broadway people, or daddy's involved with theater, or whatever the case may be when they finally realize this, right? Mm-hmm. And I struggle with, like, do I encourage them to follow this unknown, stressful, not a lot of money in most cases kind of career path, or go down something?
Send them to dental school. That's what I tell everyone. Go to dental school.
Oh, I listen to my mom. I got to get Peter's science degree.
That's useful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, I science those computers.
There you go.
But okay, back to you, because we're not here to talk about me. When did you first figure out you could sing?
I kind of decided I could sing. It was probably like, I don't know, 6th grade. They did a massive 6th grade production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. Can you imagine that? With literally 150 11-year-olds.
150?
Yes. It was a weird setup with the elementary schools all feeding into the same 6th grade. So there was so many students. I was a mouse. There were 18 mice in the musical. My name was Tina.
Tina the mouse.
And I remember, like, because when they gave us our parts, everyone auditioned, everyone got a part, obviously. When they gave us our parts, they handed us, like, we had envelopes, like at the end of the day, all the teachers would hand out the envelopes. We all, like, opened them. And my 2 best friends in my class were both stepsisters. We had 3 stepsisters.
The teacher, imagine the teachers sitting there like, how can we not cut anybody? And then 150 kids later, we have like...
There were a lot of featured dancers. A lot of townspeople. Yeah, a lot of mice, 3 stepsisters. I'm trying to think what else. We also had, I don't know why this was necessary, but they added a song called We Love to Cook, but it was set to Under the Sea.
What?
So we also had 2 chefs. You know when you say something that you like know is a part of your history, but as you say it out loud, you're like, that is bonkers. How have I never talked about this before? And we sang mostly to pre-recorded music, but sometimes we had a piano and we had 1 flute player and like 1 violin because they were also 6th graders, so they used them very sparingly. Oh my God, this is hilarious.
Do you happen to have a VHS recording of this?
Oh, my dad converted it to DVD.
Oh boy.
So I have, and there are some people in this city that I could torment. Oh, yes. One of my good friends growing up is now an agent at Innovative.
No kidding.
And he's got a dancing part that I could show the world, and I keep threatening to do it.
Oh man, I think that would be super fun to just kind of leak that out on the internet
just
one
a little
day.
bit. Yep. And it was before puberty, so he's just like his one line is in the stratosphere. Yep,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well then,
That was that. Yeah, it was that audition that I was like, my mom was like, can you sing? And I was like, yeah. I don't know.
of course I can.
And so I sang, I think I sang My Favorite Things. That's what it was like. My Favorite Things, Happy Birthday, or like Doe a Deer. And I picked My Favorite Things. Probably because it had like the most range or whatever. And I sang it for her in the car and she was like, well, okay. I guess I could carry a tune. She didn't seem to be too afraid of it. I also started playing the clarinet when I was in 5th grade. So I think that really sort of added to like musicality in general for me.
Oh yeah, so you could read music then.
Yes, yeah. And I played it all the way through 12th grade. And so that has been very helpful in my career with the sight singing. It's kind of like indispensable, I think, for myself. So that probably helped. I knew generally and we were always like belting around the house and singing, and it was all encouraged as well, So that was that. And I had my stellar theater debut as Tina the Mouse. Oh, they also added the Shoop Shoop song.
This keeps getting better. I have to see this.
But here's the thing, all the mice sang it. Oh my God. Does he love you? I want to know. I don't know. But yet I think they cut like 2 of the Rodgers and Hammerstein songs. Yeah.
I would have loved to have been in the creative room. The creative room when they were going through all this stuff.
I mean, I know it was all to
incredible.
like give, kids more stuff to do and bigger parts and everything. But like, ooh, that's going deep.
Wow. Well, 150 kids later. Yeah.
6 hours later.
6 hours later.
You know what this show needs? It needs the Shoop Shoop song.
Yeah, we got 75 kids over here who haven't sung in 3 minutes. What can we do for them?
I know Rodgers and Hammerstein were pretty good, but like I feel like they're really missing something here. Oh my God. Oh no, I have to go home and watch this immediately.
So were you the only one in your family that was interested in this?
1,000%. 1,000%.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
How did you come out ahead like that?
I have no idea. My cousin, on my mom's side, she also sang and she also had a gorgeous voice. And so we would do all the high school shows together. But other than the 2 of us, that's the only link. That's the only, yeah, I know. It's very odd. It's very strange. My little brother liked to do theater, but and he loves theater. He would like to work in theater, but not on stage.
Like to be behind the scenes.
Yeah, or like general management and stuff like that. Like he just loves the business of theater.
Right. Oh, it's a great business.
Yeah, it is. Show business.
And your career I guess you began your career in regional theater, playing Polly in Crazy for You down in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, which I just found out, the Broward Stage Door Theater, literally just today, they closed.
Oh.
Forever.
Oh, no.
I know I shouldn't laugh, but I feel like, what are the chances? Like,
Today
Today
is the 1-year anniversary of Frozen, too.
I know.
Which we'll get into.
I know. Yeah. I loved that theater. I loved it so much.
Wow.
And it was just like the theaters they're expensive to run and they are not massive money makers most of the time.
No.
So that's like, I'll pour one out for Broward Stage Door Theater because, man, they fostered my love of musical theater right out of college.
I lived in Broward County for half a year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
I was in college with my computer science degree. I interned at AT&T.
Oh.
Was that what it was? God, I feel like I can't remember what company I worked for.
What town was it?
It was Paradise. I was in Paradise.
But was it? Was it Paradise?
No, not a bit.
I loved it.
Not a bit. But I got my first motorcycle there.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I had nothing else to do. I had to tear up and down A1A.
Exactly. Yeah. Beachfront Avenue.
Oh, yeah. Vanilla Ice up in here.
Vanilla Ice.
I was like, I can say the next line. I don't know if that's appropriate. Yeah. Where were we? You got me jumping all over the place. What year was this?
Theater, yes.
What year was this?
That would have been 2002. 2002.
So you were
yes, and I
22?
worked there for just about a year.
21.
Year and a half. Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
21, 22. Yeah, and I was down there for a big stretch of time, about 9 months, and then I went back the following fall to do another show, and then came back to the city, and I got my equity card in 2004 at the Goodspeed Opera House, doing a show called Princesses.
Mm-hmm.
David Zippel and Matthew Wilder and Sherry and Bill Steinkellner of Cheers fame, and it was ridiculous. It was so much fun. It was much. Me and Sierra Boggess and Lindsay Mendez and Jenny Fellner, Mary Faber. It's unreal. Like the talent that they rounded up before anyone really knew that we were talented.
I love that though. I love these interviews with people who have now made it. We'll put that out there, right? The made it in air quotes. And everybody started some at the same place. Like all of us are the same age. Like you started at the same with those high schools, and you're talking about your friends who were, who's now an agent who's like got prepubescent dancing all over the internet somewhere, or at least should be all over the internet somewhere.
Soon,
yeah, soon. You heard it here first.
Yep.
You send it to me. I'll put it in the show notes for this episode.
Great.
But yeah, I am so impressed with the community that develops from performing and going through. I won't say a struggle, but it's a project. You guys are building something beautiful, and you're connected. Music connects people.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's one of the most grueling things to, be part of a show's creation, no matter how big or small it is. It's instant family, and it works really well if you really like the members of your family. And in that case, we really, truly did. Like a lot of us bonded very much over that. And we took it to the Fifth Avenue Theater a year later in Seattle. And even more so, like especially the four of us got very, very close. And it's like, that was also when we learned our first lesson of when they tell you it's an out-of-town tryout and you're going to Broadway, that does not mean you're going to Broadway.
Oof.
Yeah.
It never does.
Because at that point I didn't have an agent. So I got the call with the offer for myself of out of town and then for Broadway. They, package it up. So just because you get an offer for Broadway doesn't mean that it's going to come through or happen. So it was kind of like, it was a massive lesson learned for me and also for my family, like, how this business really does work. Because, we did another reading after we got home and it just didn't take off. And so, but like for probably months way too long, I probably hoped and was like, no, it's like totally going to happen. But, it didn't. And that's okay. That's totally fine.
Do you have any insight into the creative process? Like they keep trying to rework it or they keep trying, like, are there shows that ever do multiple out-of-town tryouts and they just can't get it right? And at what point do they say, like, you know what? We just got to cut our losses.
I don't know, actually. I think it's different with every show. It just sort of depends on, how hard, how I don't want to say how much they believe in it or like, I also think it's a business thing, it's at the end of the day, it comes down to money. And if there's no money, then there unfortunately can't be a show. What's great nowadays is that a lot of shows that are only doing, out of town runs or off Broadway runs or whatever, they're at least raising the money to do cast recordings, which is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Which is really great because that helps to spread, for licensing and, for other like regional companies to do it or high schools and whatnot. So that's a really great trend that I feel like has really picked up in the last, like, I don't know, 5 to 7 years. Because I've done a lot of cast recordings for shows that I've never once, set foot on stage. So, and that's just a really fun thing. So, I think that's helpful too. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of, a big driving force behind why Be More Chill is now about.
Yes.
Or just opened on Broadway,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yep. It's the you record that music and like, that with any cast recording, with Frozen, it's the kid who's, sitting in his living room in Oklahoma who can't come to New York and he can just open up Spotify and put on Frozen. It's like, it's genius. This is my favorite part about technology, is just having it just kind of like beamed right into your living room. Or
yeah. Well, you and I are of the same. I don't know if this is a legitimate classifications, xennials is the between.
Right. Is it like 2 years where like we don't have a generation?
Yeah, it's like 5. I think
Yeah.
it's 78 to 83 or 77 to 82 or something.
I think it's 82. They just came out with like they were like, you're millennials. My husband, I was like, you're a millennial and I'm not. You like to make fun of me for being 2 years older, but guess what, buddy?
I remember analog.
Haha.
Yeah, like grew up analog, and then had digital. I didn't have broadband until I went to college in '98.
Yeah.
So I had my 56K modem.
Oh my gosh. I remember going to the computer lab in college, signing through like 18 different screens to get to your email. Like it blows my mind. And like black screen with like orange writing.
I read an article the other day that was the most popular chat app with teens right now is Google Docs.
That's
no joke.
Why?
Because it's not, you don't need your cell phone. You can be on your laptop in class, learning, I put in air quotes, taking a note, and you can sit there and you're chatting with people. Yeah, you can share it, you can tag people, you can do whatever you want, and everyone can just like type all at the same time.
But you're like, oh no, I'm on Google Docs.
Yeah, I'm totally learning right now.
Oh my God, kids are so smart.
That worries me.
They'll find their way.
Worries me, man.
I know. What's going to happen, I mean, when your kids get, like, what is it going to be?
VR.
What's it going to be?
Implants.
Oh my goodness. I'm reading a book right now called Sapiens. It came out a couple years ago. Yeah. So I started I started reading it. I literally cannot put it down. I'm the nerdiest nerd on the nerd planet. And it's like I can't wait to get to I literally have it with me. Look, I'm a nerd. A brief history of humankind. But the last chapter is like, what's next? And it's basically like, we're going to be super powered and then we're going to be robots.
Yeah.
Like the superhuman. And I'm like, I don't think I want to be alive for that.
I'm kind of okay with the idea of uploading my consciousness into a cloud. But then the ethical part of me, because I'm going to make a copy and there will be a me that exists in computer land. But then the physical essence of me is dead. And so there will be a copy of me that just dies.
Right.
And, of course.
And a copy of you that lives forever.
Right. But the copy of me that dies, is the copy of me that lives forever going to feel guilt about that?
Probably. I don't know. Are they going to have emotions? I guess it depends.
Totally. Well, they should. We should. I should.
But then one thing I got from this book, I was like, oh, humans really did ruin this planet. So I'm like, maybe it's our turn to go.
This conversation is going in a weird place.
I know, right?
But I love it. Philosophizing about the future of AI. I love AI. I love robots. What I originally wanted to do with my computer science degree was move to Japan and write AI because artificial intelligence was just becoming the thing. That or be on Broadway.
Right. Well,
so I didn't do either.
Yeah.
So here I am.
It's a hybrid of both,
Right.
Technology and theater.
Would you upload your consciousness? If you had the choice right now of being like, Patty, you can live forever.
I don't know. I would probably be like, what's everyone else doing? Yeah.
Casey did it.
Oh, well, then probably.
And Casey comes in, hello, Patty, how are you? But she can still, you guys can still sing though.
Yeah.
But oh God, that would take out, if you were in a computer and you could just have a synthesized voice that was always perfect and never got tired.
Well, that's the one great thing about it is like, oh, I wouldn't have to like navigate colds anymore or like, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have to like be worried if I like got sick or whatever, or like my cords are tired or that would be a definite plus.
You know what's part of this, I'm going to take this somewhere that's actually applicable to what we should be talking about. Do you watch Future Man on Hulu?
No.
I'll see if I can give a synopsis. There's this character that played by Haley Joel Osment in season 2 that uploads his consciousness. And so like his whole character is a hologram. So it's like 200 years in the future or something. And we're interacting with him as an AI. And he keeps debating with himself as to whether or not he should upgrade himself and patch his insecurities.
Oh, this is like very Black Mirror.
Yes, it's very much like literal like personality insecurities as a metaphor for like a security vulnerability in a computer, right? He's like, should I patch my insecurities? Should I patch my issues with my personality that cause me to be human? And he eventually does it because he keeps like falling in love with one of the characters and it's causing him like people make bad choices when they're in love and he's like, fine, screw it. I'm gonna patch it and not be in love anymore.
Ooh.
Right.
This is above my pay grade.
So then my question then is, and we'll get into this a little bit, but like the mental health aspect of of people's personalities. Would you take all that with you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would. I feel like that's made me who I am.
Right.
Dealing with that and like coming to terms with it and figuring it out, and still day to day, it's like I'd be so boring. I think.
Just be like the Alan Rickman robot in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I mean, yeah.
A depressed robot.
Just yeah.
I love that character. I love me some Alan Rickman.
Yeah, I don't know that I would patch anything up except maybe like I don't know, something like my food allergies. Like get rid of those.
You wouldn't have to eat.
Oh, that's
It'd be
true.
irrelevant.
See, I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible at this.
The listeners are like, God, just get on with it. Enough computer crap.
Talk about Broadway.
Talk about Broadway. Okay, let's talk about Broadway. You played Glinda in the first national tour of Wicked.
I did.
Yes. And that's a fun soprano role, but you had only belted up until then.
I had to learn how to sing soprano for it. It was terrifying.
Did you go into the audition and like, I can do this?
I had auditioned a bunch of times. And they did not offer me the role, after like when I went into audition at all. I had work sessions, and at one point they said they did not offer me the role because my soprano was too weak, because it was weak. But then after Lysistrata Jones closed, about 6 months later, I got a call and they were like, "Do you want to?" It was an offer, and I was like, "Well, yes." And then I was like. And they were like, it's in like 2 weeks. And I was like, guess I should learn how to sing soprano. So I had one lesson with Liz Kaplan, the Broadway's absolute, oh my goodness, secret weapon, mastermind, vocal coach, powerhouse. And so she gave me, like some exercises, like strengthening exercises and blah, blah, blah. And like, I really kind of faked my way through that. I'm going to be totally honest. There were some notes that like, I was like, that was really good. But like that whole opening. But the thing is that I feel like now I've been studying with Liz for 2 years. If I were to do it now, I would be so much better at it.
I hope, yeah.
Because like I learned to sing that soprano. I didn't learn to sing soprano. I've learned to sing those specific notes. You know what I mean? Those specific songs. I didn't learn to sing like, like when someone's like belt this, I'm like, okay, because I know how to belt. I didn't know how to sing soprano. But now, just because of all the work with Liz, and I feel like, I've got that now.
So transposing that to Frozen now, in Anna and Frozen, did they transpose the music to a different key at all to like fit your voice? Because like Kristen Bell, I don't picture her as a belter.
No, they kept it in the original keys, which are insane. I think my songs are all the same key as the movie. Which is nuts, because if you've ever tried to mix belt the word door on an E while you're dancing, it's not easy.
I do that like once a day. Yeah, no problem.
It's still the part that I'm just like, I'm going to open my mouth and let it fly, and whatever comes out, comes out. It's like I had to get very comfortable with cracking on a Broadway stage, because I just crack, and you're like, whatever. There's real problems out there. It's fine. You get what you get.
Yeah, not the end of the world.
But like it is the first 2 songs of the show are my hardest for sure, because it's all there in the D's and E's and the belting and the like high mix belt and but then once that's over, all the new stuff is written in a bit of a lower place, but yeah, but not too much lower. It's just for some reason I think maybe I'm more comfortable with it because it was not built around me, but like I was the only one developing it as a song, as like because I've been the only person to play Anna since the beginning of this,
right?
Since the very first reading.
When was that?
That was 3 years ago in like April, May.
That's fast.
Yeah,
3 years to now. Yeah,
yeah.
To get it, and it's already been open for a year.
Yes, it has. Yeah,
that is some fast workshopping.
Yep. So we did a reading, and then we did 2 4-week labs, both on their feet to like stage it and whatnot. Went out of town to Denver and came back and opened it on Broadway, and it's a year later. So it's like, yeah, everyone keeps being like, it's been a year, and I'm like, it's been 3. But, yep.
It's been longer than that.
Yeah.
Did you know what you were getting into? Like when you first received your call and you're like, hey, we got this project over here. Why don't you come in and read for this?
I knew that it was going to be huge and stuff. I also knew, like, when I went into that audition, sometimes it just fits and it just feels right. And you never, like, it's always the ones that you're like, I have to play that part. I'm going to be devastated. You never get those. You don't ever get those. You just don't. It's the ones that you are just like, it's like a quiet sort of like this, like you don't want to talk about it out loud, but you're like, this is made for me. So I left the audition, for that first reading, and I was like, I think I might have gotten that. And I got a call, and I was like, I definitely just got that. And then it went through some upheavals, some creative changes and whatnot. And so our futures were very unclear for a while in terms of, but Michael Grandage came in, and we did the first workshop together. And I, was like, we hit it off right away, and it was so much fun. It was even more obvious that I was like, this is my part. But after that, because he had been brought on and I was sort of grandfathered in for him, he wanted to do his due diligence and have auditions and whatnot and kind of see everything else just to make sure he wasn't missing anything. Literally, you just can't blame him for that. It's like people are like, were you so? And it's like, no, I wasn't. I did everything I could in that workshop to show him, and to show everyone that I was this role. And then they ended up, going with me, thank goodness.
And this is not your first Disney princess.
No.
Because, you were, it was in 2006, in the national tour of Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, a mini tour of that from Atlanta Theater of the Stars.
Yep, you were Belle in Beauty and the Beast there. How long was that mini tour? How long was that tour?
Like 3 months.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Do you like touring versus like sticking around? Are you more of a homebody? Or?
No, not anymore. I think then it was super fun because I was like young and single, and I didn't really have, it was like living the dream and going to, like some different cities and stuff. But the Wicked tour was very hard for me. It was very hard. And we had like 7-week sit downs. It wasn't like we were moving every week, but it's just the climate changes. They do a number on your cords and on your health and whatnot. And I like where I live.
Literal like weather climate.
Literal climate, yeah. Like we went with Wicked, we went from Las Vegas to Seattle.
Oof.
So we went from crazy dry to crazy wet, and then we went from Seattle to Hawaii. Yeah. I'm sorry, I went to Hawaii with Wicked for like 2 months. Yeah.
Life's hard sometimes.
It's so hard. I know. Well, I was like, oh, they're offering me the Hawaii. Like, yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Do you have the option to turn it down?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Was there anybody who was like, no, I don't like Hawaii?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't think so.
I hope not.
Right.
I don't know.
I've never been.
It's amazing. It's one of my favorite places in the entire world.
Yeah. I need to go. I go more. Being in New York, I go east.
Right, of course.
I go to Europe all the time.
Of course,
but yeah, Hawaii, not so much.
It's quite a trek from here.
Wow. So you said that you like touring, but you're not a homebody now?
Yeah. Or? I like being home. I've done, in recent years, I've done a couple of like out-of-town productions. Like I went up to Goodspeed for 4 months to do Holiday Inn. Mm-hmm. And that was, that's basically like being home though, because you have 2 days off a week and it's like 2 hours away. So you're coming back and forth. But like, I like being here. And my husband shoots a TV show. He's Chicago Med in Chicago. So I already have 2 homes. So I don't feel the need to like add more to the list. So. Yeah.
I do like The Affair.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a fan of your husband's character on The Affair.
Yep. I know. He's multi-talented, that one.
He is. Yep. So are you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Frozen. Yeah. So second Disney princess. Is this something that like the princess type of character? Is this something that you're drawn to for a particular reason? Because I feel like I really like how Disney, especially lately, has really their women are very strong women.
They're like heroines now, as opposed to like the old school princesses. Like they have a goal, and they, even from the when Little Mermaid came out and stuff, and Beauty and the Beast and whatnot, like they just keep getting stronger and stronger as they go along. I think I grew up as a massive Broadway fan, but I was also raised a massive Disney fan. My dad is a huge, huge, huge Disney nerd.
I think we have the same parents.
Yeah. Maybe. That's weird. Are you my brother?
Yes, surprise. That's why I'm here. This is actually to introduce myself.
Are we twins?
Yes, Yes? If I say yes, does that make it true?
No. But like, we would go to Disney and Disney World and stuff. And I grew up with all of the old school cartoons, like Silly Symphonies and stuff, and all of the anything Disney we would see or would be brought home as soon as the Disney Channel came into existence. Of course,
Had to get it.
Yeah, and it's not, we weren't like rolling in money at all. That was a legitimate luxury, but there was just no option. We had to get it.
All right, we didn't get it for a while. I always would pay attention to when they started giving it away for free.
Yeah,
Remember when cable used to
yeah.
do it? Yeah.
Yep.
Like, oh, you can get Disney Channel for free for a couple months. And then I'm like, I got to keep watching it.
And sometimes they forget to turn it off. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so like, I think the Disney, because I was so closely, I feel like already entrenched in Disney and theater, that's like, multiple dreams coming true and just multiple things that I love all in one place. So like, yeah. So I did always want to be a Disney princess, but now I'm glad that I get to be the Disney heroine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to say she's a heroine who just happens to be a princess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And on stage, you and Casey have, of course, amazing chemistry.
Yes.
Is that acting, or like how close are you and Casey like in real life?
And very close.
Are you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
We found out.
sisterly?
Yeah. We found out when we started the first workshop that we live half a block away from each other.
No kidding.
Literally. Yeah. Half a block. I see her on the street sometimes with her son. And it's
Oh.
lovely. Or I'll see her son with his nanny and I'll like get to say hi to him. And he's 3, and it's like the best thing is when he sees me, hi, Patty. I'm like, oh my God, you're like my little nephew. Like you're like my little buddy. Yeah, we're very close. Our husbands knew each other before we knew our husbands. So they go way back too.
I love this industry.
I know, right? It's so crazy. Yep. And so we've always known each other, but we've never been friends, like, super, but we have a lot of mutual friends, and they're the kind, I always say they're the kind of friends that I'm like, oh, if you like Casey, then I'm going to like Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not acting. It's total, like we clicked from the start. And it's also like really amazing to have someone to go through all of this with. Like both of us have one other person who knows exactly the hard times, the times you get overwhelmed or when you're tired or when you have to call out for the first time and you're sobbing because you don't want to. Like, we take care of each other. She literally takes care of me. Like, my first panic attack in Denver that I had, calling out wasn't really an option at that point. And she snapped into like mother mode and like, got me soup and like let me like sleep in her bed and just like, yep. And throughout the whole show, she was just like, and so that's something I'll never, ever, ever forget.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are like really friends, and you will be friends forever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I wanna come back to the panic attack in a second, but continuing on the family bit, I saw that I think it was Ryan Redmond who posted something the other day. Zoe Glick, your little Anna,
my little peanut.
Yeah, she had her birthday, and there was like a video of the whole cast singing "Happy Birthday" and everything. And is it? I mean, you've mentioned this before that it becomes a family, but do you really feel like attached to these kids, and especially like Zoe, who's little you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, every time a new set of kids comes in, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not getting attached to these ones. It's too sad when they leave, and 2 seconds later, I'm like, I love them so much. It's like it's like the nature of the business, We've had some real tough goodbyes, really tough goodbyes. And the thing is with the little girls, it's like I tell them all the same thing. I'm like, you are leaving for the best reason ever. You're leaving so that you can grow up into a young woman. That's amazing. Has nothing to do with your talent. That's the great thing. It's only because you're actually growing, and you have to go out and like take over the world because the world needs you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I know. I have a special relationship with those the little girls. They're just the best.
The girls who were in the workshop, they're not the ones. So Zoe and the other ones, they weren't part of the workshop.
Nope. So
we had Denver. Of course, the kids didn't go to Denver. There's a different set of kids in Denver.
Yep. So right now we don't have any of the original kids anymore. Our last original kid, Matea Conforti, left in November, and she actually was one of the 4 of us that was in that very first reading.
Oh.
So it was me, young Anna, who I don't know how her parents made her not grow for 3 years, but she did not grow. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoop. Kevin Delagula, who plays Oaken, and Greg Hildreth, who is Olaf.
Yep.
He was with us until last month. Yep. So there's it 4. It's like Survivor, Frozen edition.
But you and Casey you're still going.
Oh, we're still. Oh, yeah.
And you feel you're telling me before we started recording that it's a very like you feel a lot of ownership.
Yeah.
Over this.
Yeah.
Because you created it from nothing.
We worked so hard, and it's like we had the movie was such an amazing template, like such a great, but it's a different medium. So, we took what they did there, and then we all worked together to expand on it and to actually literally bring it to life. And my show is incredibly physical. And I'm never off stage. And if I am off stage, it's because I'm changing into a costume in like 20 seconds.
Well, you change costumes on stage.
I know.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
You were singing while changing, while on stage. And I was like, oh, okay.
I know.
That's special.
Yep. So, and it's like I'm running around, and there's one of my favorite moments. Oh my gosh. It's actually backstage that it happens is after I leave, the Act 2 number, the opening of Act 2, Huga, I don't know. I still cannot pronounce that correctly.
Huga.
I leave, and I say after I come out in my Anna dress, and I exit stage right, and then I immediately sprint around the back to go to the upstage stage left wing. And this is when the curtain is coming in, and there's a kick line in front of the curtain, but behind the curtain, they're doing this massive set change in 20 seconds. And there's like 10 crew guys doing this huge, like getting rid of that so that it's like the most Broadway moment that I could, because it's also like that kick line music that's very like, like Rockettes.
Yeah.
And I'm running around to do a costume change, watching like our entire crew move this massive Wandering Oaken's trading post and sauna. It's just like, it's mind blowing. Every night it blows my mind. And it's that kind of thing where you're like, we worked so hard for that. And now it's just like, boop, yep. And that's after I do a like 20-second quick change out of the climbing clothes into my Anna travel outfit, which is 5 people.
Is this the most physical show you've done? Like, are you in the best physical shape in this one?
I eat Shake Shack a lot. Lysistrata Jones was also quite physical with all the dancing and the cheering and the basketballing and the running and blah, blah. But I had more time off stage in that one.
Was all roller skating.
Yeah,
too.
That was all, mm-hmm. Yeah. That was short, though. That was like 90 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just like, boom. This one is like, once you start, it's over. It goes so fast. And I have a minute during Let It Go into intermission, and then it's like right back on. It's honestly, I think one of the things I know this now. It's one of the things that I'm going to look back on and be the most proud of anything in my life.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be remembered for it. Like, this is one of those like iconic roles that when you think of,
I hope so.
Yeah, original cast, you will be. I'm telling you will be. When you think of original cast of some of the greatest shows that have ever graced the stage, like you and Anna in Frozen, like it's going to go hand in hand for Evs.
That's good because I'm still going to be there in 50 years. Give me the hip replacement surgery, give me the Botox.
Do you want to build a snowman?
There's not even like a role I could like age into in this show.
That's right. Everyone, you could be Weaselton eventually.
You know what I say? When you need stunt casting in like 10 years, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be Oaken.
There you go.
I mean, that's the best job on Broadway because he has one song and it's amazing. And then he goes back and sits in his dressing room again. And I'm like, an Oaken, I mean, if Olaf can be a lady, why can't Oaken be a lady?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, she's a businesswoman. So that's where I'm aiming towards.
Just always go back to Oaken. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you don't mind, can we get back into the first time you called out?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The first time I called out on Broadway, I still cry when I call out. I don't like calling out.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I just called out on Saturday night. I had done the matinee and I was like, I hadn't called out for a month, and I also hadn't missed a show that wasn't for other work in like 3 months. So I had been working for like, and my voice was just like, I was like, this is not going to be a show that people on Saturday night want to go and see. And I still cried. But the first time I called out, I don't think this was the first time. It was it was in the beginning. It was like April. So it was close to after we opened. I had a panic attack. It was a Tuesday, I believe. And I was like, I just like could not be me at all. And I couldn't see people, and I couldn't I was just incapacitated. And I always say that like, it doesn't matter what job I did, I would not have been fit for work. Whether I sat like alone in an office cubicle all day, I would have been useless there as well. So So I decided to call out, and it was a good decision. I took a couple of shows off. It's like it really does a number on your body. I don't think people realize that it's not just like your brain or like you're crying. Like it's really like it's getting back to like getting your equilibrium back takes a little while. And so and I posted about it the next day, not really thinking, on Instagram. I just was like, well, this is why I called out, and this is, something that I deal with on a daily basis. And I didn't realize that it was going to be such a popular topic. And it was. And it got picked up by, many, many news outlets. And I got the opportunity to do so much great work for so many different organizations, because May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. So I got to it was April that I did it. So it was like I got to just go and speak out to so many different, areas of people and stuff. And I have these binders. I have like scrapbooks basically. And I save every single piece of fan mail that I get that
Really?
that is someone telling me their story or saying thank you for speaking out. And I have like 3 binders full of it now.
Wow.
Because it's good for me to be like, look at this many people that like I'm not alone either. They like to know that they're not alone, but like I also need that. So so it's been, and I was like, it was that moment where I was like, I found my platform. There it is. This is my like life's work. I thought it was just rescuing puppies, but like I'll figure out a way to meld those two together.
Yeah.
Puppies make you happy.
Yeah. I mean, puppies, pets in general.
Yeah. It's scientifically proven.
Yes, it is. But I want to call out, I mean, what people see on social media more often than not is not who that person is as a real person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So like you've got, like Laura Benanti is very good. I respect her. She talks about her autoimmune disorder as a lot, and she hates when she calls out. She feels guilty about it. And I was talking with Bonnie Milligan on this podcast, and she was telling me she feels like an obligation to use her time in the spotlight, right? For lack of a better term, to promote LGBTQ rights, because that's all about what she was being. People are focusing on that because of Head Over Heels and whatnot. Like, do you feel that same sort of obligation? Is it an obligation or like desire?
Desire. It's sort of like this has happened, and I've been put on this stage, and this is it's a massive worldwide. It's Disney. It's a Disney Broadway show. And the great thing is that Disney has been so supportive of everything. So it's not even like, they want me to be me, and they want me to, to do this and to talk about it and stuff. And so, it's sort of like, of course it's like about like, what am I going to do next in my career and all that stuff. But it's also like, well, while I'm here, let's talk about real things. Yeah. Because there's a lot more people listening than, if I wasn't in a Broadway show, just in general. Yeah.
What brought on the panic attack though? Like a month after opening,
it tends
everything's
to happen,
going great.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's not a circumstantial thing. It's just it's a disease. You know what I mean? It's a chronic disorder, and so it doesn't have to. There are certain things that will trigger panic attacks and anxiety attacks, but it doesn't always. It can just come out of nowhere, and it's just something just not just glitching in the brain, and it just doesn't. Connections aren't being made, and then it's all heck breaks loose.
I'm really getting into this a lot. Like personally myself, this is actually the first time I will ever mention this on this podcast. Was about 8 months ago, I believe 6 or 8 months ago, I was diagnosed with OCPD.
Oh, what's that?
Obsessive compulsive personality disorder.
Huh.
So it's different from OCD.
Okay.
It's not like, typical OCD stuff. Personality disorders are much different. So the high level view of this is that I can't see the forest through the trees.
Okay.
So sometimes I get so hyper focused on little details that I can't step back and just like enjoy where I am, or let go of some small detail that's causing me stress and anxiety.
I feel like people listening to you right now are probably like, wow, I should really look into that, because that sounds like something I have.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like that's like just you talking about it is like going to spark people to be like, maybe that's what it is. It's not like, because I'm sure you're probably hard on yourself about it, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I am, and I'm not. I am in that I'm very conscious and very intentional about like what I want to focus on now. And I actually am taking a little bit of medication for it, which is immediately just like, whoa, I can't believe I was living like this for so long.
Same. And I know medication's not for everyone, you know what I mean? We're not doctors, disclaimer, blah, blah, blah. But like it changed my life. it did.
I totally agree.
And therapy. Also talk therapy. It's just, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. If I ever win big awards, I'm first and foremost going to thank my wife and my kids and then my therapist.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yep. Basically.
But it's listening to researching for this particular day. I was actually a little bit nervous, if I'm being honest, because I mean, we've never met before this, but knowing how much and how outspoken you are about mental health, I knew this was going to come up.
Yeah.
And I was debating, I was talking to my wife and I was like, do I want to go into this about myself? Do I want to share this? And then I made the decision. I said, yes, I think I just need to be authentic.
Yeah.
And that's what I respect. I respect that so much about you and Laura and Bonnie and everybody else and, Kristen Bell and Mark Ruffalo and everybody else on a platform. I put myself in with all these other people. Sorry about that, everybody else. That people, I think people are afraid to talk about this.
Oh yeah, it's a massive stigma because everyone thinks it's something that's wrong with them, them as how they grew their personality, and it's not. It's like you just got that roll of the dice when your brain was made.
When I got the diagnosis,
mm-hmm.
I was relieved.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you feel the same way? Because I finally had an explanation.
Yep. From the very first moment in college when I was like, oh my goodness, thank God. I'm not just crying over this boy because I love him. No, I wasn't. It was because there was, it was just like a rut that I couldn't pull myself out of. And when one of my professors was like, have you ever thought about maybe you're clinically depressed? And I was like, no. And so that was sort of the beginning. And what's great now is that so many of the letters that I get are from 11 to 14-year-olds.
Really?
So what's amazing is that they have a name for it now. And that's half the battle. You know what I mean? And it's not a thing where you can be like, oh, I blame it on my anxiety. It's not that. It's like they have that name is an automatic tool to do research, reach out to other people, have something in common with someone else instead of and because when I was, 10, it was like I was being dramatic. And I'm sure some of it was probably me being dramatic, but it all makes sense now. It all clicks. It's that's why my mom had to pick me up at school because I was crying and couldn't stop and didn't know why, you know? So I think that's a massive step is that people are saying, my child, has anxiety instead of being getting frustrated with your child and not knowing and yelling and you know what I mean? It's we have a specific way that we can go about this now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. As a parent too, I look at my two kids and they're totally different, but my older one is very, very sensitive.
Yeah.
And it was seeing how he needs to, when my wife and I, when one of us scolds him or yells at him for something, which thankfully doesn't happen too much, he immediately needs to be held and reassured by the person who just yelled at him.
Okay.
And as an adult, I'm the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize until parenting and knowing that about him, I was like, can we try that? We got in a fight. Can I just have a big hug?
Oh.
And it works wonders.
Yeah.
And I love being able to talk about it. I love going to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, just people listening. Therapy's not bad.
Yeah. It's I equate it to if you have diabetes, you're not going to be like, you know what? Just going to handle this myself. It's cool. You're no, you're going to go to the doctor and you're going to get some meds and, or change your diet. You're going to change, you know what I mean? You're going to change something.
Right.
So that's what that's how I sort of spell it out to people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually want to quote you from a refinery29.com article, and I'll put the link to the article in the show notes for this. And you have said, all I can do is sit on my couch and feel absolutely nothing, because to feel anything would mean that my soul was victorious. And I am not convinced that I have a soul at this moment.
I wrote that?
You wrote that.
Holy crap. I should be a writer.
It was beautiful. The whole article.
Wow.
Absolutely beautiful.
I haven't read it in a while, and I every so often someone will bring it up and I'll retweet it again and stuff, but wow.
Excuse
me while I be impressed with myself.
Is that a struggle that a daily thing, or every with a medication, it's a monthly thing or a quarterly thing that you come in and you're like, oh God, I just don't feel like a person right now?
There was, there in high stress periods, it happens more often. I also tend to sort of push through a lot of things and get through stuff. And then all of a sudden they'll come up from underwater and I'm like, oh my God. And everything just cracks, and again, there's certain triggers, you know what I mean? It's alcohol is one that is like, that can be a trigger for a lot of people, actually. And so I haven't had a panic attack, knock on wood, in a while, but I've had times, one last week where I was like, I feel like this is coming on. And I'm like, I'll text my husband. He'll be like, what do you need? And I'm like, I think I'm okay. Because now I know what it feels like when it starts, and I can start to fight it right away.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work, and I find that if I just sort of like push it off, if I'm like, it's fine, it's going to come back eventually anyway, and it'll probably be worse. So it's like, I have to ask myself, is this the kind that I can like quiet down? You know what I mean? Or is it the kind that I need to let happen because something needs to come out?
What does that feel like to you? Like when you feel it coming on?
There's like a black seed of like, it's like a pit, and it's right in, like, I call it my heart gut. It's like right there, right between your heart and your stomach.
The solar plexus.
Yes. And it's right there, and you're like, oh crap. and it just kind of like grows, or just like, sits there and festers, and then it's a lot of crying. Yeah, because it feels like my body actually wants to get something out, because I'll want to throw up, but I don't have to throw up, which is why I think the sobbing is so big. And then when that's over, then I sit and I'm catatonic, and I usually put on like superhero movies.
Yeah, inspirational stuff.
It's like, it's like they're colorful, and they're high stakes, but it's going to be okay. And also, like, that's actually why I became such a huge fan of all the Marvel movies. Is because that's what my go-to was. And so they're fast-paced. You don't have to think too hard, but they're not mindless. There's something about that for me. So that's like my thing of choice.
I think I want to give a big, I guess, shout out to Colin too, your husband.
Oh yeah.
Because, and you too, to have two people, I guess, in a relationship who are, when I first got my diagnosis, part of it was relief, like I said, but the other part was like, oh crap, is my wife going to think I'm less of a person? Mm-hmm. Am I being perceived as weak?
Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing for males as well, because it's a very small percentage of people with diagnosed mental illnesses that are male. It's mostly female.
Because the men refuse to stop and ask for directions.
That's exactly
stereotypically,
it.
Yeah.
You're correct. Yeah, well, because, society's gender norms has made men feel like they have to be, the strong one, and the so that's huge.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Colin, if you're listening, and I hope you are.
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting Patty.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Yep.
He does seem like a good guy.
He's my number one.
The other day, Colton and Cassie from The Bachelor came in to see you in the show.
Yes.
Because you're friends with Colton, right?
So Colton came with Jason, who is also a contestant on last season's Bachelorette. They came in August to come see the show. And we had just sort of connected over Twitter. Jason has a brother who works in theater. And so, he's just a big theater fan as well. And he had already followed me on Twitter when he became a Bachelorette contestant. So they were tweeting, and I was tweeting with them. Then they set it up. And then afterwards, Colin was in town. So we all went out for drinks afterwards. And we just like really hit it off. And we hit it off with Jason's brother and his husband, and, with Colton. And it was just sort of friendships were born. And then Colton was named The Bachelor, and I was like, okay, this is crazy. Such a lifelong, dedication to this show, and all of a sudden I'm accidentally friends with The Bachelor. So you're like, cool. But it was really interesting too, because he went completely incommunicado for a month while he filmed. There was no communication. He came back, and he didn't say a single word to me. I spoiled it for myself though before I watched the show, because I do live tweet, and I didn't want to be like, I don't know, like rooting for the wrong person, or like, I don't know. I didn't want to act like, I just wanted to know. And it was also interesting. I got like a whole lesson in editing, because I was like, interesting how they edit that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so when he finally made his pick, they were, coming here to, and he had talked about wanting to come see the show again and bring her. And he was like, we have a free night. It's going to be Thursday. We're going to come see the show. And so it was their first official public date that
right.
My husband and I crashed. So they came to the show sitting next to my husband. And then we all went out for drinks afterwards. So their first date was a double date.
Oh, that's
with me.
That's fun though.
Yeah.
That's so much fun.
They're great. She's like, oh my gosh, she's just the best. She's the best.
But so how did that work? I saw press photos of him up on stage and with a mic. So what was he doing? Yeah. What was he doing on stage?
That we did a big sensible rose ceremony-ish welcome for them. After the show, we got them up on stage and just sort of, asked them a couple of questions. And it was actually really funny. They told a story that I don't know that it made it out there, but during there's one line, like, do you know his last name? That Kristoff asks Anna, and like, what's his last name? And she says, the Southern Isles. And they laughed. They were like, well, it was funny because when he came to my hometown for hometown dates, he thought my last name was Rudolph. Her last name's Randolph. So they were like, we literally were like, so they told that story. It was lovely.
That's fun.
Yeah. And she's like, she's so energetic and she's so funny and she's so charming. And she's like, I know everyone's making this like, she's 23 years old. She's so much more mature than that.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yes.
Not that I haven't already.
What's personal at this point?
Yeah. Like at the level, like, a lead on Broadway, originating roles, you're on TV, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure there are people that want to be next to you in physical proximity and emotional proximity all the time to like have some of the fame, have some of the success rub off on them, right? How do you make new friends and figure out who's genuine?
I feel like I have a pretty good BS meter when it comes to that. I'm also like, I'm pretty transparent. You know what I mean? Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm very open. I'm very friendly. I'm very friendly to everyone. Mm-hmm. So like, I mean, sometimes I'm sure that probably gets me in trouble. But like, I don't know. It's also a pretty insular life right now. I go to the theater where my friends are. Mm-hmm. I do the show and I go home to my husband and my dogs. And so there's not really an opportunity to sort of like, make new friends unless it's like some crazy thing like that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I still have the same best friends that I've had since I was 4 years old. And just, and 2 best friends from Lysistrata Jones and the same 6 best friends from college. Mm-hmm. So like, it's nice to even when you were like listing my resume, I was like, wow, I do a lot of things. I just don't think about it like that. It's like, because I know what it's like to do the daily grind of it all. And so it's not always super glamorous and it's not always super like, like it's not easy. But I don't know. I like to make sure that I keep my my real family and friends as close as possible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we are running out of time here. Gosh, Muddy Paws, you're into animal rescue.
Muddy Paws Rescue.
Yeah, Muddy Paws Rescue.
If you want a puppy, adopt, don't shop.
Yeah, give me a quick plug for that.
Muddy Paws Rescue is amazing. It is an organization based in New York City. It's foster-based, so they don't have an actual shelter. It's run by a woman named Rachel Ziering, who is just, oh my goodness, she established it 2 years ago, and they've I don't even know, over 2,000 dogs or something have been adopted. And so they bring dogs from the South. They pull dogs from shelters, kill shelters, and bring them here. And they adopt them. And you should follow them on Instagram. Their Instagram content is golden. It's the best. So Muddy Paws Rescue. It's either muddypawsnyc.org or just go look at Muddy Paws on Instagram and you'll find all the information and whatnot.
Muddypawsrescue.org, yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah, I got it here.
Muddypawsrescue.org. Yep. But that's if you are considering, adopting a furry friend, puppy, older dogs, adult dogs, small, large, they literally have it all.
Okay, so on this podcast, there are 3 standard questions that I ask everybody.
Okay.
Number 1, very simply, what motivates you?
Ooh. The promise of coffee.
Should I get out of bed? Yes, coffee.
It's on a very small scale. What motivates me? I mean, probably I would say my family and my husband. That's what, that's at the end of the day, like who I want to be happy and be proud of me and whatnot.
Nice. Okay, so number 2, what advice would you give to your younger self and younger people listening now, starting out down a similar path?
I always like to say that so much about, especially like in that middle school, high school area, college even, you're always trying to fit in. You're trying to fit in with the crowd so that, and not like be weird or be, different. But the thing is that that's what makes actors, that's what makes successful actors successful, is because they're different. Even if you walk into an audition room and you see like 7 different versions of me there, I'm the only me. So I feel like embrace what makes you different and embrace what makes you unique, And the sooner you do that, I feel like it'll open up a whole world of possibilities and, in terms of acting and auditioning and stuff. And always make sure it's fun. Always make sure it's still fun.
Good.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question. If you could only see one show for the rest of your life, but you can see it as many times as you want, what show would you see?
It doesn't have to be running now, right?
No, any show.
Oh my God, that's so hard. I'll say the first thing that popped into my head, probably the original Broadway company of The Secret Garden.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That was the show that I'd seen Cats and the Starlight Express and stuff, but that was the one that really made me fall in love with theater. And I saw it twice. It was my senior year of high school show. I played Mary Lennox, and now we're in the St. James, which is where The Secret Garden was.
Yep.
So that feels right.
I know we're short on time. I did Secret Garden once, and I won't say the name of the production company or where it was, because it was not so good. Our secret garden, the company had rented like trees and shrubberies and stuff without checking the size of the cargo elevator, and basically nothing fit.
Oh.
So we had a couple shrubs on stage for the big reveal, and it was not
great.
Not great. Okay, anyway. So we can get more of you on Instagram and Twitter at Patti Murin, and of course, muddypawsrescue.org. And then, on Saturday, May 11th at 10 a.m., you are co-hosting with Alex from Dear Evan Hansen.
Yes.
The NAMI Walks, is that how you say that?
Yeah, it's the largest mental health fundraising walk that exists. And it's basically an organization that really focuses on taking the stigma out of mental health and, making everyone comfortable and educating people on it and whatnot. So we are very excited. Alex and I are Twitter friends. We have not officially met in person yet. So this is sort of like our first blind date.
It's sort of like The Bachelor, but
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
we're very, very excited for that. It's just again the amount of support and love that's already been thrown our way, and people donating money and stuff. It's incredible.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So NAMI NAMINYC.org.
Yes.
And you can get there.
Come walk with us.
Anything else you want?
You can run, but why run when you can walk?
How about some Shake Shack?
That's what I'm going to eat for lunch.
Get more of me at theater_podcast on Instagram and Twitter, facebook.com/officialtheaterpodcast. Listen and subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening now. This is produced by Jillian Hockman. And thank you to Jukebox the Ghost for our intro and outro music. Patti, my gosh, this has been so much fun.
It's been so much fun.
Thank you for chatting.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.